Hi, my name is Lee Heron. I'm a personal injury lawyer here in Florence, South Carolina, and the name of this video is The Golden Rule. Now, we all know what the Golden Rule is. The Golden Rule is do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. Those of us that have kids teach our kids that, and we were probably taught that by our parents. But did you know that when you're in a courtroom, when we're trying a civil case, lawyers are not allowed to ask a jury to put themselves in the position of our client? We are not allowed to argue the Golden Rule. Now, as silly as that might sound, and we'll talk about why that's so silly in a minute, keep in mind there's another silly rule. And those of you that watch my other video, the secret word that you'll never hear in a courtroom, and spoiler alert, the word that you'll probably never hear in a courtroom is insurance. I think that's one of the silliest rules. And before we start talking about that, I want you to understand one thing. The practice of law and trying cases in front of a jury is a sport. And just like every sport has their own set of rules that the players have to abide by, well, in the sport of litigating cases, lawyers have to abide by these rules. So when I'm inside a courtroom, I abide by the rules. I understand I'm not allowed to ask a jury to put themselves where my client is. I'm not allowed to talk about the Golden Rule. However, outside of the courtroom, I'm allowed to have an opinion about the rules. And some of these rules need to change. And one of the silliest rules that needs to change is the rule that we're not allowed to talk about insurance, car insurance, in front of a jury. I want to give you just a quick example of what I'm talking about. I want you to imagine that I got a client that was in a bad car accident, has $45,000 in medical bills. And I also want you to imagine that the person that hits them has $25,000 in liability coverage. So $25,000 in liability coverage. And those of you that watch my other videos know that's the mandatory minimum in South Carolina, $25,000 in coverage. Well, obviously this person has not been made whole. They haven't even got their medical bills paid for. And we're not even talking about the pain and suffering right now. They're still in the hole just on medical bills, $20,000. So those of you that watch my other videos, you are well aware of what underinsured motorist coverage is. And let's say this person watched my video about underinsured motorist coverage, and they have $100,000 in underinsured motorist benefits. So this insurance company that represents the person that caused the accident is going to give us the $25,000 for my client. Now, we're going to go to my client's own insurance company. My client's own insurance company. We're going to say, hey, we were in a bad accident. We got $45,000 in bills, had to have surgery. My client's has got a scar, a piece of glass scarred up the forehead. They have a neck pain occasionally ever since the accident. So we're going to try to get more money from my client's insurance company. And keep in mind, this underinsured motorist coverage, this is coverage that my client paid for. And it was a good thing they paid for it. But I want you to imagine that the insurance company, my client's insurance company, and I'll just make up a name of their insurance company. Let's say they have All Snake Insurance. So they've got All Snake Insurance, but they got $100,000 in underinsured motorist coverage benefits. Now keep in mind, they've got $45,000 in bills. We've already collected $25,000 from liability. And I want you to imagine that All Snake offers the client $25,000. Okay? So, what that means, out of this accident, my client is looking at a total amount of $50,000 recovery. Because we're going to get the $25,000 from the person that caused the accident. But All Snake, all they did was offer $25,000 out of the $100,000. So ask yourself this question. I'm going to ask you to use the Golden Rule. If you were in my client's position and you had a scar on your forehead, it was a really bad accident, you still have neck pain as a result of this accident, and the insurance company is only offering you $5,000 over your medical bills, $5,000 for the scar, $5,000 for your pain, $5,000 total over the medical bills. Total settlement $50,000. Would you accept that? Especially when you know that you have $100,000 in underinsured motorist coverage that you paid for? I'm guessing that you probably would not accept that. And the silliest thing is, and by the way, you shouldn't accept that because it's not fair. One of the silliest things that happens, and those of you who watched my other video, I had some friends comment and they said, I didn't know that's how it worked. But here's how it works. Allsnake will pay a lawyer to represent the other driver in the case where you're trying to get your own underinsured motorist coverage benefits. I'll say that again. Allsnake is going to pay to hire a lawyer to represent the other driver. Now keep in mind, this other driver, their insurance company has already paid you the $25,000. Allstate's going to hire a lawyer to represent the other driver to try to stop you from getting your own insurance money. They hire a lawyer to represent the other driver to stop you from getting your own insurance. Now, some of you that have ever sat on a jury, you were never told any of this. And the reason you were never told any of this is we as lawyers are not allowed to tell you this, as silly as that might sound. So I'm going to ask you to use the golden rule. If you're on a jury and somebody is suing another driver, I want you to ask yourself what would be fair for you. And keep in mind that sometimes juries guess wrong. And what I mean by that is, I've been trying to get the law changed about not able to talk about insurance. And when I do that, the judges always go, because I always say, Judge, I want you to instruct the jury that whether or not the other person has insurance is not the issue before them, shouldn't be talked about. Judges always say the same thing. Well, Mr. Herring, everybody knows you got to have car insurance, or you got to have insurance to drive a car. I say, exactly, Judge. So when I'm suing another person on behalf of my client, and I'm not suing Allsnake, or I'm not suing State Farm, or I'm not suing Geico, juries go back in that room when they deliberate, and I know this for a fact because a lot of times they ask the question, they come back with the same question. Did the other person have insurance? And the judge gives the same standard answer. That's not an issue before you. So juries think to themselves, I know that person probably didn't have insurance, because if they had insurance, that lawyer would have been suing State Farm or suing Geico, suing Allstate. They guessed wrong. And the reason you know they have money is because somebody's paying that lawyer, first of all. And another reason you should know is personal injury lawyers don't get any money unless we collect money for our client. So why would I sue someone who didn't have any money when we can't recover anything from them? So when we're suing somebody, we're suing to get their insurance coverage. And a lot of times, we're suing the other person to try to get our client's own insurance coverage. And we're not able to tell the jury about any of this stuff. We're not able to talk about the golden rule. I'm not able to get in front of the jury and say, put yourself in my client's position. And here's why that's a problem. I know a lot of you watching this video have opinions about lawyers, and you got opinions about lawsuits, and that's fine. Understand one very important thing. You are one mistake away from being right beside me in a courtroom with me representing you. You're one mistake away. You could stop watching this video, drive to work tomorrow. Somebody smashes into you coming through an intersection. You had to have surgery. You missed 6 months off from work. You're seriously injured. You're going to have to put up with the pain associated with this accident for the rest of your life. And some insurance company is going to try to take advantage of you. Some insurance company is not going to offer you what's fair. And somebody like me is going to tell you the only way we can do that is we file to get you what you're supposed to get you what's fair, to get you what you deserve. The only way we're able to do that is we got to file a lawsuit. And like I said, a lot of times these insurance companies will fight you, even though it's your own insurance coverage that you're trying to get at. So please keep all this in mind the next time you hear about a lawsuit, or next time someone talks to you about a car accident. And please keep all this in mind if you're ever involved in a car accident. You need somebody that's going to sit down with you and explain all this stuff to you. You need somebody that's experienced. Need somebody that has been successful in getting millions of dollars in settlements for injury victims just like you. Well, that's the end of the video, and you know what I'm about to say. Personal injury lawyers like me are everywhere. But the thing that separates me from most personal injury lawyers is ever since I became a lawyer, one of the last things I do before a client leaves my office, I take out my business card. On the back of that business card, write down my personal cell phone number. Give my card to the client and say, look, if you ever have any problems, if you ever have any questions, feel free to call or text me at any time. Shouldn't your personal injury case get that kind of personal attention? If you've been involved in a car accident, give me a call at 888-9REC9. It's a free consultation. If you don't recover anything, you don't owe us anything. So if you've been involved in a car accident, give me a call at 888-9REC9, and I'll make sure your personal injury case gets the personal attention it deserves.